Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you all so much for joining us today for this live stream event. My name is Alexia, and I am the program manager of the Microsoft Reactor Toronto. I will be sharing session resources with you in the chat. But before we begin, I'd like to quickly review two items: our code of conduct and event guidelines. First, please take a moment to review our code of conduct. Microsoft Reactor seeks to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. We encourage engagement in the chat, but please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional and on topic. And secondly, our event guidelines. This session is being recorded and will be available on demand through the Microsoft Reactor YouTube channel in about 24 to 48 hours. I will be sharing the link in the chat for our on-demand content. And if you have not been on a live stream to YouTube before, please note that you must create an account on YouTube in order to have access and interact in the chat. You can set that up now, and if you're unable to use the chat but have questions, feel free to reach out to us through social media or on our website. Which brings us to today's session. Today is day 2 of the season of AI for developers. I'm going to bring in our speaker here for today, Luis and Pablito. Hello, hello. Welcome back.
Hi, Alexia. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Pablito. How are you?
Hi, Alexia. Hi, Luis. Hello, everyone. Oh, I'm fine. A busy day today with a lot of content.
Yes. We are really excited to continue with season of AI for developers. Let's say the second topic. So I think this is an interesting one. People were asking last week about RAG implementation, retrieval augmented generation. So I hope that we can cover this topic, and it's also interesting for you. So
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, take it away.
thank you, Alexia.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well,
So Pablito, yes.
yes. Thank you to the people who contacted us on LinkedIn with their rating and questions. And well, that Luis say, today we are going to talk about several important topics, as the title of the talk says, consideration for model deployment in Azure OpenAI. And we will also start with how to add knowledge to our LLMs using the RAG pattern. Well, remember, the next episode, number 3, we will discuss the last hits from Microsoft Build. Well, the 5 free model, GPT-4o with models, capability, the new Azure AI Studio portal. But, well, we have a lot of content today, so let's start.
Yes. Awesome.
Well, first thing to explain, reading private knowledge to LLM. Today, I want to talk about 2 essential techniques for enrich language model with private knowledge, fine-tuning, and retrieval augmentation. Fine-tuning allows model to learn new skills specific to our private data. This means we can train the model to better understand and respond in particular contexts relevant to our organization. But, well, we have another strategy, in this case, retrieval augmentation. On the other hand, this is a technique that teaches new facts to the model. Here we integrate relevant and outdated information that the model can retrieve to provide more accurate and contextualized responses. With this technique, we can make a language model more useful and specific to our needs, in addition to combining them with prompt engineer techniques to optimize how we interact with LLMs. Um, Retrieval argument generation, known as RAG, is a technique that combines document search with the power of large language model to provide precise and contextualized answers. Imagine an employee has a specific question. For example, do my company benefits cover underwater activities? With RAG, the process is as follows. User questions, the employee asks their question, document search, the system searches the database for relevant documents, large language model, uh, the model analyze both the question and the retrieval information. Finally, an accurate response is generated based on the phone data. In this example, the model responds, yes, your company benefits cover underwater activities such as diving lesson. RAG allows us to combine access to updated and specific data with the text compression and generation capabilities of language model, significantly improving the accuracy and relevance of these responses. Well, the we had the limitation of LLM models. While large language models are incredibly powerful, they also have certain important limitations that we need to be aware of. Outdated public knowledge, for example, the LLMs are often training on public data that may not be up to date. For example, if you ask the model to write a model class using the latest version of Flask SQL Academy, it may generate code base on an outdated version of the library. This can lead to errors if users attempt to use the generative code in a modern environment. And the LLM no internal knowledge. The LLM do not have access to a specific internal knowledge of an organization. If you ask the model whatever the company benefits cover underwater activities, the model can only provide a generic response and suggests consulting with the human resource department or area, as it does not have access to the company specific information. This limitation highlight the need to integrate private and up to date knowledge into LLMs to make them more effective and accurate in a specific context. The benefits of RAG, now let's look at the benefit of retrieval argument generation, a technique that significantly enhances the capability of LLMs. For example, up-to-date public knowledge. With RAG, we can ensure that the public knowledge used by the model is current. For example, when asking the model to write a model class using the last version of Flash SQL Academy, RAG retrieves the most recent documentation ensuring that the generated code aligns with the current version of the library. And another benefit is access to internal knowledge. RAG also enables access to a specific internal knowledge of an organization. If you ask the model whatever the company benefits cover underwater activities, RAG can access internal company documents and provide an accurate and relevant response, such as, yes, your company benefits cover underwater activities like diving lesson, directly citing the appropriate internal resource. These benefits demonstrate how RAG can overcome the traditional limitation of LLM models, providing more accurate, up-to-date, and contextually relevant responses by combining public and private information. Well, this architecture diagram is based on the end-to-end demo example we will show in a few minutes, available as a repository. Yes, we will share the repository too. Let's review the architecture. The architecture here involves several components. We have Azure AI Search, uh, Azure OpenAI with GPT 3.5 Turbo or GPT-4 model. Additionally, we have an application orchestrator and a user interface where we can present our queries. The first step here is to perform OCR, optical character recognition, on PDF document and upload them to our Azure AI Search. We are analyzing the documents and also splitting the text into chunks to fit the chat GPT limits. Okay, we will talk about in the second part in this episode. This particular repository uses GPT 3.5 and 4, so the token limit must be taken into the account. We are splitting the document, for example, page by page within each PDF document. Next, an inverted index is created from the documents we upload to Azure AI Search. Then the user query is passed through our interface. We have a web application or container instance that orchestrate the entire information flow. But ultimately, in the last part, that query is passed to Azure AI Search. The first step is document retrieval based on the VM25 TF dash IDF algorithm. The 50 more relevant documents are retrieved using the VM25 algorithm. Then semantic model reorder the top 50 results to present the most semantically relevant documents to the user. We also have the option to use a hybrid search or hybrid plus semantic ranker. In this case, we might opt to retrieve only 3 to 5 or a smaller number of documents because ultimately we want that information to fit within the token limit of a GPT model. Finally, the information we retrieve from Azure AI Search is passed to the GPT model for a response, and that response is returned to the user. In the backend, all questions and answers are being stored. Suppose they are in a second query from the user, we use the conversation history and the previously provided response using the GPT model to synthetically generate a new query. That new query is then passed to the Azure AI Search. And finally, that information is returned to the GPT model, and using the information, GPT will generate an appropriate response for the user. So, in conclusion, all these different services work together to provide us with the answer we need based on our own industrial or company data. Well, let me jump to the the two example. One is in Python, another is in .NET and C#. We will share this repository so you can deploy them in your Azure tenant and then experiment with them. You can adapt and use them in your upcoming project utilizing generative AI with RAG. Um, when when you follow the step in the documentation, you will be able to deploy the services on Azure, running everything in Bicep, and and you will end up with something similar, for example, to this. We will create different services, document intelligence, Azure OpenAI, search services. They are more important for this project. Well, we have the same that with the .NET example. Um, Let me switch again. Well, I already have them up and running. So now let's ask a question. For example, does the health plus plan, plus plan cover a exam? And we are waiting. Okay, yes, this is the answer. Health Plus plan cover the exam. And we can see how it cited the responses, providing the grounding for how it obtained that information with the LLM, then use it to generate the answer. For example, here we have the information. Okay? Another thing that I want to show you, for example, do my company cover underwater activities? But let me clear the chat to understand the. Here, look at this, the response. Based on the information provided, your company covered underwater activity. The source mentioned will range fit activity that they cover. What is? What happened?
A little, if you can zoom in, please.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, here I set the semantic ranker, but we use vector the hybrid search. Yes. In Azure AI search, you can have. Oh, let me explain hybrid search. In Azure AI search, you can have vector fields which contain embeddings together with the text and number fields. This setup allows you to make hybrid queries where different type of searches run at the same time. Okay, hybrid queries can use features like filtering, sorting, and ranking all in one search request. Um, Hybrid search combine the result from both text searches and vector searches. Um, Text searches use a ranking method called VM25. Vector search use a method called HNSW, a special algorithm called reciprocal rank function RRF, mixes the result from both types of searches. The final result you get in a single list of the best matches from the both searches. Um, here link for you to explore the capability of Azure AI Search. I will share in the chat. Let me put to Alicia. Well, in this link, you discover different techniques, for example, keyword, vector, hybrid, and explain in depth. Well, let me switch. We have another example. In this case, in .NET, yes, it's the same. We have documents. This document chunking in different parts and convert in embedding using in this solution using ADA 002, and this information saved to the vector database, in this case in Azure AI Search. Well, here is the same. For example, I don't know. What does a manager of human resource do? In this case, find this information in Azure AI Search. Azure AI Search give me different chunks of information. Yes, we have the different citation, and this information passed to the LLM for generate the answer using generative AI. Okay, and well, he have another feature that we have follow-up question that use this information, and the GPT model generate for me free answer that maybe I will ask to the chat or the in this assistant. Well, Luis, do you need to add something? Let me share
Well, yes.
the repository.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that everything benefits from also another topic, which is known as embeddings. The idea is that how these models, LLM, know uh, which are the relevant documents based on the query, and the answer is embeddings. Well, uh, if you want, okay, so Alexa, can you help us bring up my screen? Well, the idea behind, thank you very much, embeddings is that the documents, the chunks are, let's say, converted into numbers. These numbers, in the end, they are vectors, or you create an array of these floating point numbers. They capture the semantics, the meaning of this text. So if we have several documents, one talking about budget, another one about employee benefits, another one talking about competitors. Yeah. So all the chunks, maybe the whole document, but of course that's not recommended. Maybe smaller chunks of every document are embedded. You use an embeddings model, and Azure OpenAI has one, which is ADA version 2,
Mhm.
or now there is version 3, of course, for smaller and larger embeddings, embedding vector size. So, okay, so you vectorize all these chunks. These chunks or these vectors are stored in some database because this is, let's say, an expensive process, or you don't have to vectorize every time a new query arrives. You have your documents, they are static content. So you generate these vectors, store it. You can store it using Azure AI Search, Pinecone, even SQL Server, but that's, let's say, a topic for something later. I will just let me show you. Yeah, there are different options for these vector databases. Well, the idea is that later, when a new query arrives, let's say this example, right? You ask or you introduce the search term Darth Vader. So if you use these embeddings, you will be involved in something called semantic search. Semantic search means that you will get documents that not only mention Darth Vader, but also Anakin, Skywalker, Sith Lord, and other related terms, because they are relevant, or these terms, these words are also related, let's say, to your main topic. In a text or lexical search, if you are looking for that Vader, only documents with those words will be retrieved. That's the difference, right? And that's the importance of embeddings. So yeah, you can get even documents where Darth Vader is not mentioned, but related topics are, and they can be useful to build an answer. That's actually the goal. It is not only about searching, but in the end, the user needs some answers, needs something related with their query. And well, in order to find out which documents are relevant to this query, there are some techniques. Well, Azure OpenAI or OpenAI models use cosine similarity. And the idea is that, well, yes, there is a mathematical formula. The distance or the cosine, right, between a search query and a document will be, let's say, closer if the document is related to the query. But if they are talking about totally different things, well, the distance will be higher, right? So that means no relevance or low score, and they will not be retrieved. In the end, and we mentioned this last time, the LLMs don't work with words, they work with numbers. So the documents are vectorized, they are converted into embeddings, and also, let's say, our query is vectorized, so you can compare apples with apples, right? The numbers with numbers, yes. So that's the idea. That's how these technologies, let's say, benefit, right, from this mathematical knowledge in order to retrieve from the different data sources the most relevant documents and information. And even some GPT-4 versions, such as Turbo with Vision or GPT-O, can benefit from this because of the multimodality. You can also convert an image into embeddings, so they can also be retrieved or used in order to build an answer. So not only text, but also images. Well, I also have a demo. Hopefully this will be interesting for you. This is a .NET MAUI application. I will actually share the link for this repo in the private chat. So Alexa will help us to share it with you. And the idea is that you can upload, first of all, some documents, right? I already did this. Let's say that I have some PDF, right, of 20 images. And, well, thanks to some C# code, I was able to chunk it, right, per pages. So if I click here, well, this is in Spanish, but basically this is let's say, a history book about ancient civilizations from Mexico, and also it says something about the when Spanish people from Spain conquer our nation, right? Just a second. Okay, yeah. So I will show you here something else. Yeah, it is in Spanish actually. Let me also increase the size so you can see a bit. Yeah. So it is, let's say, talking about this information. Right? It's text, and there are some images. But I will just open one more. So the idea is okay. I opened the same. Sorry, that you can using these OpenAI models and this application, you can ask, okay, I would like to generate a new exam. This, let's say, is some application for professors or even for students who want to, let's say, learn or maybe get practice, let's say, about some topic. So let's say that I would like to create an exam about pre-classical is one period before, let's say, before Aztecs. Let's say there were Mayans and there were other cultures, right? And even though, well, this content is in Spanish, the exam will be generated in English. Well, sometimes it fails, so I'm open to any improvement. Yeah, this happens. Okay, let me just try another topic. Okay, yes, okay. So yeah, so sometimes it fails. So I just need to provide a new topic or something. And, well, this is not, let's say, the classic chat application that you might have seen. This one uses OpenAI models behind the scenes. Yeah, this happened, as I said. Well, I will just try one more time. Otherwise, I will show you one exam that was generated before. Because yeah, this application also generates a PDF, saves it locally, right? But the power, let's say, or the true potential of this application, yes, now it works, is that, okay, I introduced, let's say, some term, and you saw that there are 20 documents. So it looks for this topic or related content, related information in order to generate some questions, let's say. What was the main reason for the Mexica Empire's crisis in the early 16th century? And there are some, let's say, options, right? Of course, there is one that is correct, and the other ones were generated using, let's say, some knowledge, let's say. So it combines public and private knowledge from OpenAI. Of course, I am, let's say, this application focuses on my data, my documents, but it also uses public knowledge in order to generate the, let's say, the options that are not correct. Okay, and of course, for grounding purposes, I can also see where this question was generated from. So, for example, this document talks about, let's say, Tenochtitlan, and I could see the answer somewhere there. So this is, let's say, to practice. I can also reveal correct answer, and you will see, okay, this is all of above. Okay, who succeeded Moctezuma after his death? He was one of the last emperors in Aztec Empire. So yeah, we see some options. Yeah. So and of course, I can show you some of the inner details. It uses embeddings, Azure AI search, and of course, there is a system message. You know, right? You have probably asked ChatGPT, okay, please create a quiz about this topic. And yes, of course, you get multiple choice questions. So I kind of replicated that, but using the documents, right, that are stored in an Azure account, a storage account, and blob and containers, right? But and you know that it returns text, but in order to get each question, see which option is the correct one, also get the citation. Well, I ask it, and this is part of the prompt engineering that we mentioned last time. We can format the output. I can ask it, okay, only JSON format is allowed, and you can see that this is in capital letters. Someone asked and did ask a really important question last time, if capitalization is helpful. And yes, actually, it is like a strong, let's say, part of your prompt. So you can use it if you want the LLM to focus on something, that to highlight something, right? And yes, I say, okay, I need these fields: number, content, option A, B, C, because later of course, I have some model. I mean, not OpenAI model, but class model to extract each of these properties, so I can serialize, deserialize this very quickly. And well, yeah, the rest is just programming, and I can, as I said, just like evaluate. Okay, you have 1 out of 3 questions correct. You can save it locally. You will see it in a minute. You can generate a PDF. Maybe I can improve this a bit. So, oh, sorry, I didn't need to do that. Sometimes I get confused about the keys. Sorry. Yes. So you see what was generated. Yeah. So this can be helpful, as I said, for students, for educators, and yeah, this is saved locally because later I can just retrieve another exam that I previously generated. So I don't need, this is, let's say, for offline support. This was some other question about Mesoamerican cultures. Yes, so as you can see, we can also like kind of build this application without any OpenAI models. I mean, I could provide the user with a UI, okay, select the topic, and okay, here are the questions. But as you can see, this adds up flexibility. The user can ask any question, of course, related with the topic. This is not validated. This is just a small demo, but of course, we can add some validations. Okay, you are asking about cars, but there are no documents which talk about cars or something else, right? Um, yeah. So if you want more information about this, well, I have the GitHub repo, which was shared, or feel free to contact me on LinkedIn. And yeah, I hope that this was kind of interesting.
Excellent, excellent use case, Luis. Is I will use for the certification. Upload the documentation and then generate different questions, and then I will practice. And well, it's perfect because
Yeah.
you it's another use case using rack pattern, but in this case obtain insights in your own data, and it's not only for a chat with your data. Here we can extract information and generate information with your data. Oh well,
Mhm.
amazing demo.
Thank you.
Um,
In this case, well, I just shared some PDF. Well, I think this PDF was already questions, but yeah, I wanted to show just the chunking part. Maybe I should have some PDF somewhere here. Yeah, I don't find it, but yeah, the idea is that okay, you upload the PDF and then it is chunk. Yeah, there is some uh, PDF service. Probably it's here or in the document service. Yeah, document service it should be here. Yeah, here it is. Upload document, and it can upload images directly or PDF. And if it is a PDF, well, using some library,
mhm.
we get the each page, right? And the page is a chunk. But there are other techniques
Mhm.
which let's say the chunks are paragraphs or maybe topics or subtitle, sorry, title, subtitle, something like that. So
Yes,
it is
and
more
then use
optimized.
the overload in different
Mhm.
chunks. That, for example,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
when you
And well, hopefully, yeah. Feel free to use it, modify it as you wish. Okay. Any questions about this RAG pattern? Well, I see that there are some questions. Let's see. Well, there were some questions before about Azure OpenAI Studio, Azure AI Studio. Well, we answered some of them in the chat. Um, there is a
we
question
will talk
from
about
Michael.
Azure AI Studio next
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. Is there a way to have a response based on the user role profile permissions? Totally. Yes, you can add some validation. Well, actually, at the beginning, from the very beginning, you can add maybe some login page, sign in. You can connect it with Microsoft 365, Graph, maybe your
I,
tenant, right? Or maybe you have some internal solution. Pablito, you
I
want to say
share a
something?
GitHub repository, but I can see if the share. I using my personal account in YouTube, but uh, Faikal, please contact me with LinkedIn, and I will share a code, a repository about this topic.
Mhm. Yeah, sure. But definitely you can after the user signs in, you can let's say use this, let's say, as part of your prompt in order to generate answers. And even maybe there are some documents which only few users have access to, and maybe one user asks a question, but that document should not be, let's say, included as part of it. This would be a bit more complex and you would need to add some programming, but definitely you can add some validation, let's say, before that. Or you can even, like, in your prompt add, okay, the user role is this one, and this could be considered in order to know which documents will be part of the retrieval part. There is a question from Vivin. Please talk about security and privacy concern while using private data. Well, we could say, well, actually, there is something about RAG. Maybe this would be a bit interesting. Okay. Role-based access control. Well, yes. When you actually, this is part of Azure in general, but this is one of the differences between using OpenAI and Azure OpenAI. OpenAI focuses on the artificial intelligence, LLMs, the intent, entity extraction, all that. And Azure, Microsoft adds the security, the enterprise-grade features. And one of them, of course, is security. Well, first of all, this part would be as, let's say, for users, different users, different roles in, let's say, the portal or the resource management. There are cognitive services OpenAI user. They can view, for example, keys, but cognitive services usage readers, they can't. There is contributor role for cognitive services or cognitive services OpenAI. So they have different, let's say, capabilities. They can do or not some things. Okay, so this is, let's say, for the management of the resource. Regarding the privacy, well, you can definitely, let's say, trust that the data is stored, let's say, in a storage account, in a search, vectorized also. And Microsoft will not, let's say, share it with another person. Pablito, you want to say?
Yes. Let me take this. This is important. Your prompts and completion, your embeddings, your training data are not available to the other customer, are not available to OpenAI, are not used to improve OpenAI models, are not used to improve any Microsoft or product or services. And well, this is important. I will try to find a link to share. Let me share the link. Where is the chat? Here. Perfect. Here is the link. Well, this is about data privacy and security for Azure OpenAI services. I will share a link about this topic, that this is important topic. And well, we find in this link Microsoft product and services data protection addendum. And well, you have different addendum depend the and you select your language and you can download, and well, for legal reason you have this information.
Yes. Yeah, definitely you can trust, let's say, yeah, that the data is not shared with employees, people from Microsoft. I would add that there is an important topic regarding responsible AI. Well, and every prompt, let's say, is evaluated against content filters. The prompt and also the generated response are evaluated to find out if there is any sexual, violent, self-harm, harmful, let's say, content, or it falls into any of these categories. In case that your account is flagged, is detected that most of the queries are raising, let's say, or hitting this content filter, then these prompts, this text, this information will definitely be monitored by a human, by people, but of course, people authorized by Microsoft with several certifications. to find out if this is, let's say, an error, an anomaly, or if actually something is happening. Because, of course, when you are using this OpenAI, well, you know that the content, the input, the output should be, we should use it responsibly. But yeah, just in case that would be the only situation where your data, sorry, not your data, your prompts and your outputs would be analyzed, monitored by a person if the account, the keys are flagged for this, um, let's say, harm or self-harm issues. But let's say after a lot of times, let's say. Um, but yeah, then of course, this is just one level of security. Of course, we are also part, like Microsoft or OpenAI. They don't have to do everything. This is also part of us for mitigating that, because, for example, in order to avoid our account to be flagged for these categories, right, of harm, um, we should, if we detect, right, that because we get a specific HTTP code error or a message, right, that the output was not generated because yeah, the content was violent, let's say. Maybe some image or some text, some person asking about the guns, for example. No? Well, we should, let's say, maybe suspend or ban the user who is trying to generate this, in order to mitigate, in order to reduce the probability that our account is flagged. Because, of course, we are also responsible of the users who are using, let's say, our application. So yeah, that's also important. And well, there is also another question from Bala Kumar. Is this Azure Semantic Kernel modeling capable of answering any data lineage Q&A that could replace SQL scripts? Yes, I mean, you can definitely use natural language processing to retrieve information that is stored in a database. I am building some solution about that. Let's say that you have the very, let's say, simple example. You have products table, and you want to know, okay, what's the cheapest product? What's the most expensive one? How many categories we have in products? Yes, you can ask using natural language, and of course, this replaces. You don't have to build SQL queries, right? So it adds flexibility to your application. You might need to use prompt engineering techniques in order to add reliability, because OpenAI models in general, they are not good, or LLMs, right, might not be good to do doing calculations. But if you add, uh, let's say, some technique, there is one chain of thought, like you ask the model, okay, think carefully about the steps that you are following in order to build a solution. You can test it in order to see, right, if the answer is correct or not. But yes, definitely, you can use your own data. You have your database in order to get answers from this. So yes, definitely. Okay, and I think those were all the questions. Pablito, anything you would like to add?
No, do you want to switch to quote and capacity limits? I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so let's
Perfect.
move to quotas. Okay, here we have. All right, we still have some time. Perfect. I hope that all the answers made sense. Please, if not, let us know in
Yes.
the chat, and we will do our best. Okay, so we have quota. Pablito, what would you like to say something about quota?
No, I will explain the capacity
Okay,
limit, and
no
I
problem.
will share 2 reports
Okay,
to
no problem.
yeah.
Sure. Okay, so what is the quota? The quota feature allows the assignment of rate limits to your OpenAI deployments up to an overall limit, and this is called quota. This quota, this is a value that you have assigned to your subscription. And there are also some limits per region, per model basis in units of tokens per minute. When you, for example, try to deploy a model, GPT 3.5 Turbo, GPT-4, Ada, and others, you will see that one of the elements that you can adjust is this tokens per minute rate limit. And that means, for example, if we take this value, 120,000 tokens, that means that all the requests using this deployment, and of course, your endpoint and your key, in a 60-second window should not exceed this value, this limit that you are setting. Because if during this 60-second window you have several calls, everything that goes beyond that limit, you will not get an HTTP 200 status code. You will get 429, which means that the deployment, the model could not get a response because the quota was exceeded, right? Of course, for example, right, the applications that we showed, the demos, maybe several users, right, have the applications installed and they are sending queries, requests, right? So each of them, they are different calls and they use some number of tokens in the input, in the output, same here, and at some point, if this is still 60 seconds, right, some of them might fail. So of course, this value should not be randomly assigned. We should think about it, right? Of course, we can start with few value or small value, but we should also consider that this is not infinite value, because this value is by subscription, for example, by our subscription. So if we use everything, we cannot create another other deployment, for example. But let's say that we have 120. Well, we can generate, I don't know, one that uses 20, another one that uses 30, another one that uses 40, and we will still have quota available. And there is also another option called dynamic quota. The idea is that, well, if there is still quota available, I mean, you have not used all your quota in your deployments, in order to avoid this error, Azure OpenAI can take temporarily or can assign, increase, let's say, the quota that you assign. However, you cannot control this. Some of your requests will still get this error. At some point, yeah, Azure OpenAI will check, okay, you have quota available. Yes, it will be increased temporarily to, let's say, process the demand, and at some point it will go back. It's like scaling automatically, but you don't have to trust, let's say, blindly for this. There are some techniques. You can use retries, for example, in order for users to not see, let's say, this error. You can start with small data. You can increase. You can test it. You need to evaluate, right, in order to find out what's the right quota, the right balance, right? Because probably you would like to deploy several implementations of the same model for your different applications. In case that you need a quota, you can increase it. Yeah, here. Well, it's in Spanish, sorry for that. But when you go to the quotas in Azure OpenAI Studio, you have in the rightmost column this request quota, and then you fill in some form in order to ask Microsoft for it, and well, your request will be analyzed, And yeah, you will see.
Yeah, yeah.
Before
Well,
I give, yeah, okay, please go.
no. Let me recap.
Yeah,
The,
sure.
the, s- the speed limits in Azure OpenAI are set in terms of token per minute, TPM,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
requests per minute,
yeah, that's
RPM.
important. That's
Yes,
important.
this limit ensures that a maximum amount of token processing or request is not exceed within a minute, and if exceed, additional request will receive a 429 error code until the counter is reset. This is super important. Handling capacity limits. Okay, we have two techniques or two ways. Traffic redirection. In this case, redirect existing traffic to alternative model or deployment to maintain the service availability. And another technique that you can use is retreat logic. Implement in the client side retreat mechanisms where longer latencies are acceptable, thereby maximizing the throughput. As the best practice, Microsoft recommends the use of the retreat logic wherever using a service such as Azure OpenAI. With API management, this will allow us to this easily, but with some secret sauce added it using the concept of retrieve with exponential backup. Retrieve with exponential backup is a technique that retrieve an operation with an exponentially increasing wait time up to a maximum retrieve count has been reached, the exponential backup. This technique embraces the fact that cloud resources might intermittently be not available for more than a few seconds for any reason, or more likely using Azure OpenAI if an error is returning due to many tokens per second or RPM in a large scale deployment. Let me share two repositories. Where is here? Let me find the chat again. Here, I will share two repositories that you can use in your project to achieve that. Well, I don't know, Luis, if you can share some repository or, but I put in the chat. Uh, but the idea is, yes, this is one AI gateway. If you scroll down, well, you have different labs and explain different different technique that you can use in your project to use Azure IP management and balancing the requests. Well, these report are in the chat, in the YouTube chat. Perfect.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Pablito. Yes, definitely. This is interesting in order to learn some best practices and also about different important topics. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so well, I think we are on time. So we
Mhm.
covered several topics. Again, I hope that this session was interesting for you. So we talk about RAG, about quotas, something about security because there was a question about it. So and also briefly about prompt engineering. So well, hopefully next time we will cover other interesting and relevant topics for you. We will be discussing about the uh, build announcements
Mhm.
related to OpenAI, to Azure OpenAI, new models. So looking forward to the next one. And well, thank you again for your time.
Yes, yes. Thanks to all the audience. Thank Alicia, thank Luis, and well, see you next Wednesday.
Thank you so much, Luis and Pablito. This was once again a great session. Just sharing for the audience our survey link. You can scan the QR code and have access to our link. Any feedback, comments is greatly appreciated. The event code is S-1352. And yeah, I guess we will see each other all again next Wednesday. Looking forward to it.
Definitely. Okay.
Thank you so
Thank you. Bye-bye.
much.
Have a
Have a
nice
great
day.
one. Bye.
Take care.